Hi everyone, this is Dr. Athar Mansoor from TRACS. In this video, I am going to discuss with you a very hot issue in the South Asian region, which is the protest by the Nepali youth against the corrupt government. And after this protest, the Prime Minister had to resign. So before discussing this issue in detail, I would request you to please subscribe to our channel. There is a playlist, World Affairs by TRACS, in which I have reviewed at least 18 important international issues or affairs, and you are requested to watch them. I have tried to make them very simple for understanding of common people. Going into the detail of today's video, I would first give you some statistics about Nepal. It's a country of less than 30 million people with a GDP of around 43 billion US dollars and a per capita of 1180. The literacy rate is somewhat high, 71%, with youth unemployment is also very high in this country, around 21%. Corruption is also very high. It is perceived to be high on corruption because it is ranked 107 out of 180 countries. As per Transparency Index score, it is 34. And the food inflation is somewhat under control, less than 5%, 4.69 to be precise. And unemployment general is also high, around 11%. Human development is low. Human development index score is 0.62 and ranking is 145 out of 193. On 9 September, Prime Minister KP Sharma resigned. This was the result of public outrage over killings of around 22 people in clashes with law enforcement agencies, especially police, because they were protesting against the corruption of the government. Sharma had to leave because there were widespread allegations of corruption against his government, and his government also placed social media ban. On 8th September 2025, thousands of violent protesters came onto the streets of Kathmandu, and there were injuries of more than 200 people as the violent protesters tried to scale walls of parliament and other important official buildings. On 9th September, Parliament building was set on fire, along with some other important buildings, such as the Nepali Congress Party's headquarters and the home of former Prime Minister Sher Bahadur Duba. Homes of many other politicians were also vandalized by the angry protesters. We need to understand this issue in the context of social media and how important it is. It is integral part of Nepali society, and Nepal has one of the highest user rates per capita in South Asian region. Demonstrations were triggered by the government's decision to ban 26 social media platforms, including WhatsApp, Instagram, and Facebook, for failing to meet a deadline to register with the Ministry of Communication and Information Technology. The people, especially youth, blamed the government and accused it that they were trying to stifle anti-corruption campaign with this ban. And this ban, in fact, was the trigger for this unrest. Protesters have, in fact, deep-rooted dissatisfaction with the country's authorities and their corrupt practices. What is happening now? Demonstrations became violent in Kathmandu and some other cities, and on 8th of September, around 19 protesters died in clashes as police and law enforcement agencies used force, such as water cannons and rubber bullets. Despite this, some protesters managed to breach the boundaries of the parliament in Kathmandu, and police had to put in curfew to safeguard and secure many government buildings, but eventually the parliament was set on fire. Besides that, government buildings, key buildings, and houses of political leaders were also attacked around the country, and 3 more people were killed. So the number went up to 22. But as of today, when I speak to you, more than 30 people, at least 30, have been killed since the unrest began. Many of those who have been injured have been taken to hospitals, where a large number of people have gathered also. And police have also claimed that several officers were wounded, and the casualty figures are expected to increase. There is a confusion about who is controlling Nepal right now. So on Tuesday evening, General Ashok Raj, the army chief, accused the demonstrators of exploiting the crisis by damaging, looting, and setting ablaze public and private property. And he said that the army is committed to taking control if the unrest continues and security institutions are attacked. He also invited the protesters to engage in dialogue to find a solution, but it is unclear still who is controlling the country at this point. The army statement doesn't clarify what action it could take, or if it uses force to control the protesters, it would use what kind of force. But they are definitely seen on the streets to exercise control and bring them under control as far as protesters are concerned, or those who are fueling the unrest in the country. It is also not clear who will represent the protesters if they engage in the dialogue as asked by the army chief. On the other hand, Mayor of Kathmandu metropolitan city, Balin Shah, has been making appeals through social media for restraint because the ban on the social media has now been lifted. So, who are these protesters? These are, in fact, Gen Zs or the younger Nepalis. They have been roused on social media and led by Nepalese youth. And this kind of protest has never been witnessed in Nepal. So this is the first of its kind. And as I've told you, the demonstrators have identified themselves as Gen Zs, although they do not have a central point of leadership. But some youth collectives have come to the forefront as mobilizing force, and they have issued calls to action and shared updates about the protests online. There are students from colleges and universities in major cities like Kathmandu, Pokhara, and Itahari. And there are also school children who have been seen participating in the protest through social media videos. There are two major demands. One was from the government to lift the ban, which has now happened, as I have told you, and the other was that officials put an end to corruption because they need to. The protesters have linked the social media ban with curtailing freedom of speech and widespread allegations of corruption among politicians. So people basically, youth especially, want end to corruption, and they have made it clear that they cannot be silenced. So this is very interesting. This is about the Nepo Kids hashtag. So Nepo Kids and Nepo Baby. So these have become defining features of the protest, and these slogans have been used at a very large scale. These two terms have gained a lot of popularity on social media for the last several weeks, and a number of videos showing the extravagant lifestyle of politicians and their families along with these two terms have been circulating. Protesters think and they contend that the elite or the powerful enjoy a luxurious lifestyle without any merit, and they are using or exploiting the public money while ordinary Nepalis are struggling. Videos have gone viral on TikTok and Instagram, and these videos have contrasted the luxurious or extravagant lifestyle of these elite or political families with the bitter realities of faced by the Nepalis, including unemployment and forced migration. Slogans have become these Nepo slogans, Nepo Kids and Nepo Baby, have become symbolic of a deeper frustration with the inequality which has been aggravating in the country. So what is next? The former Chief Justice Sushila Karki may take over as the interim Prime Minister before the elections are held within the next 6 months, allowing the people, especially youth, to elect their own representatives and their new Prime Minister. Some leaders, including ministers, have reportedly taken refuge with the security forces, the current government's ministers who were overthrown, especially after the resignation of the Prime Minister. The protesters have so far largely defied the curfew, which has been put for indefinite period in Kathmandu and beyond, and they have called for strict accountability and reforms in governance. Views, I think, if the youth is to be engaged meaningfully, and if they are not engaged meaningfully, analysts have warned that the unrest could escalate further. And I also endorse of this point of view. And especially students and civil societies have now joined in. So this may aggravate and worsen. So thank you so much for watching this video. And I would request you to, again, subscribe to our YouTube channel for updates on current affairs, international affairs, and other important topics on which I do videos regularly. Stay tuned for more. Join TRACS.